Welcome to the Presence Podcast, where we interview exceptional people at exceptional homes. I am very excited today to have Austin Mills with me. Austin is an influencer, he's a content creator, he's a moderator, he is a former basketball player at Pepperdine University and Baylor, where he made the NCAA tourney, and he's amassed over 150,000 followers on Instagram, 70,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he is one of the best, if not the best, experts when it comes to social media. He's also in the real estate world as an agent himself. His family has been in real estate for a very long time, so he grew up around it. And I'm very excited to have him on, and we'll learn a lot about how to grow your real estate following and how to take some of the same strategies that he's developed and actually brought to Luxury Presence to grow your following and your social presence. Welcome to the show, Austin.
Thank you. We've known each other for like 10 years. I'm honestly impressed how much you just knew about me.
I know. It's been a while, and I've seen you grow tremendously and do so many great things in a short amount of time. You're in what, your mid-20s, late 20s?
27.
27. You're doing so many things successfully, so it's been an absolute joy watching you take on different projects and different businesses. So I'm excited to have you on.
Thanks. Somehow you and I were teammates, and I'm 27 and you're 35.
I know. I don't know how that happened. But the good news is you never beat me in a one-on-one contest.
It's not true.
Well, it's great to have you on. To start, I'd love to hear how you got into social media. You have a ton of followers and really an audience that loves you and loves the content you create. So I'm curious, what drew you to it?
So it's pretty crazy. It was actually an accident. So when I was at Baylor, I was in the gym all the time. I was like to think I was the hardest worker on the team. I was always in the gym putting up reps. That's just who I was. And a big part of that was because I was in Texas, and I put myself in Texas because I wanted no distractions. So I was always in the gym and always trying to get better. And one night I happened to catch some of the stuff on film, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty cool. Let me post this to Instagram. And so I posted it on Instagram, and next thing I know, a massive basketball page picked it up and reposted it. And back in the day, when you used to post a video and someone would repost it, they would go absolutely crazy. And I gained like 3,000 followers overnight. And at the time, social media wasn't a thing. Like followers, brand deals, all that was not a thing. So it was very new to me. I posted on Instagram because I wanted my friends to see what I was doing. And I probably had, a couple hundred followers at the time. And after I posted this video, it went crazy, 2,000 to 3,000 followers overnight. And so I continued to make videos. I was making like 2 to 3 videos a week, and it amassed to like 25 to 50,000 in a matter of months. Some videos did better than others, but I was testing things out, trying new things. And I had no idea where this was going. I was not planning on it being a business. And the reason it turned into a business is because the NBA actually slid into my DMs and messaged me about coming to work for them. So that's kind of when I realized there might be something here.
That's amazing. And this was all on Instagram initially?
Yeah, so it was all on Instagram. That was the only thing I was actually doing at the time. I wasn't doing YouTube. I wasn't doing anything else. Just posting Instagram videos. And that was kind of like the focus. I didn't really know much about other platforms and how you could monetize and grow and do all that. So it was just Instagram at the time.
That's awesome. And at what point did you decide to also start on YouTube, start your own YouTube channel and invest in that platform?
Yeah, so I actually started on YouTube late. I wish I started earlier. I was probably 2 years behind the game. I had friends telling me, get on YouTube. And I didn't really understand why. And YouTubers weren't a massive thing yet. It took me a while to realize. Once I collaborated with Logan Paul a few times, like way back in the day, and just helped him with a few videos he did. And I realized the money he was making and the audience he was growing. And that's when I started on YouTube.
That's great. When is the fight happening?
Never. You will never catch me in a boxing ring. I don't care how much money you pay me. Never catch me in a boxing ring.
Maybe you and I can go at it.
Yeah, no thanks. Maltese like 6'6", for those of you that don't know. 6'6",
That's awesome.
6'7".
Well, for our listeners out there and those of us who don't know how to build a following, what's some advice that you have for how to get started and what to focus on?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple major keys. I think one of them is consistency. Being consistent is extremely important. I think knowing your audience is another really important one. I think you need to stick to one thing and be really good at it and grow that from what you're good at. I see a lot of people trying to do way too many things, just trying to go viral. But if you pick something you're good at, let's say you're a real estate broker, for example, show your properties, show why you're successful, how you're successful, and grow your audience based on that.
That's great. And any advice for folks that are busy running their business where perhaps producing content is something that you don't have time for? If you're an entrepreneur, what would be your advice to those people?
Regardless of what it is, what the field is, you have to hire someone. It's that important to your business. It makes that big of a difference. I always tell agents that I talk to about social media and real estate, if you get one listing off of social media, it pays for your entire year of hiring someone to run it. So definitely hire someone to run it if you don't have the time. If you do have the time, maybe even hire someone to run it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And we talk about staying in your zone of genius a lot on our team. So
Right.
what is it that you're particularly great at, and then hire for everything else?
Right,
So you can spend
exactly.
time on the things that only you can do, which for a lot of real estate agents, that's being with clients, being out there.
And nowadays, it's very hard to grow on social, and there are things that you need to do, specific things that you need to do, and it's very hard for people to know those things if they're not specialists in the world of social media.
Could you give me an example of maybe 2 or 3 things that are very tactical, sort of specific things that you would do if you're running the account, say on behalf of a real estate agent or your own account? What are some of those things that you've been doing?
I mean, for a long time, it's always been hashtags. So I know it seems kind of silly, but putting a bunch of hashtags on a post makes more people see it. And randomly, some client could be out there and he might type in hashtag Los Angeles rental, and it comes up on there and he rents the house because you use that hashtag. Another thing would be, for example, Instagram right now is trying to compete with TikTok. So a regular post on Instagram is not going to do as well as a reel on Instagram. The more posts you're able, the more reels you're able to make, the more views you're going to get on Instagram.
And how does Instagram, for example, or TikTok for that matter, determine who to show your content to? Because one thing that we hear about from clients is the engagement will differ quite a bit between different pieces of content. So do you have any idea of how that is determined?
A lot of the time it's based on your content. So
Yeah.
if you're posting houses and you're posting real estate advice, it's going to get to that audience, or it's going to get to a buyer, or it's going to get to some sort of audience like that. But you can't really control who sees your content. The better the content, the more high quality the content, the more people are going to see it.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed is when there's a lot of early engagement on a post, it sort of amplifies things, and a lot more people see it.
Yeah, getting people to your post is really, really important. Getting people to comment, getting people to like, getting people to share that video. A lot of the times that's why if I post something, I'll post it on my story right after so people can immediately see it. Because sometimes you don't see the stuff in feed, but you'll see the stuff in stories. So once you go to the story, you tap on that post, you'll go see it probably quicker than you'll see it on the feed.
If a real estate agent only has time to focus on one platform, what platform would you recommend to them?
It's kind of a tough question. So what I like to say is I use Instagram as a resume and I use TikTok as a growth. Now you can use Instagram as a growth platform as well by using Reels, but it is more of like, hey, Instagram is more polished. These are my properties. This is what you can see on my page. These are my listings. And then TikTok is just used simply as a growth platform, because a lot of the times people will grow like crazy on TikTok. That's what it's used more for, is virality. And then it drives people to their Instagram.
What platforms do you think will see the most growth over the next few years? And is it worthwhile for agents to invest in TikTok?
Definitely invest in TikTok. It might seem silly or young, but TikTok is the number one platform to grow right now. That's how you get eyeballs. That's how you get new followers. That's how you get your listings out there. So TikTok, I would definitely say, is one. And I mean, as of right now, it's YouTube and Instagram. The other platforms are still growing, but I would say those are probably the 3 biggest. And then there might be 1 or 2 new ones in the next few years that we see pop up, but nothing like what TikTok has done. What TikTok has done is rare, and they're blowing up.
One counter argument that we hear from agents is, well, I'm trying to sell multi-million-dollar homes. Are those buyers and sellers really on TikTok today? So what do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you never know who's going to see what content on what platform. it gets to crazy people. I have a relationship with a real estate page on Instagram, and he has shown me his DMs. Everyone from DJ Khaled to NFL players to NBA players messaging him on Instagram about a house saying, I want to buy this house. They have no relationship to a real estate agent. They have no relationship to real estate in general. They're literally messaging a page on Instagram to buy a home. And that's just one example. Another example is I know a house that sold in Brentwood for $40 million. And the reason the house sold is because the son was on TikTok and saw the house on TikTok and showed his dad, and his dad bought the house. So these are just small examples, but these things happen.
And over time, usually what happens with these platforms is they get really big and then suddenly everyone starts using them.
Right.
Initially it's Gen Z, then it's millennials, and ultimately everyone.
And you look at Facebook and every parent and adult is on Facebook now. And
right.
it's going to happen with Instagram and TikTok and so forth.
When would you say is the right time for an agent who's building their brand to add a YouTube channel to, say, their Instagram account and perhaps their Facebook account?
So the coolest thing about YouTube is that you can monetize the best off of YouTube, monetize the easiest off of YouTube. So if you start a page and it starts to grow, if you hit an X amount of views and an X amount of subscribers, you start to make money on YouTube. So it's great to use YouTube, and you can do full tours and you can do high quality stuff on YouTube. And the best part is eventually, if you're consistent enough and your content's good enough, you can get to a point where you're paying for all of your content to be created just by posting videos on YouTube.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where should agents go to find someone who can run their social for them and who can help them create content?
Yeah, I think probably word of mouth is the biggest. Obviously, Luxury Presence has a branch of social, but finding people that might run other people's pages or brands' pages, simply a direct message goes a long way.
So you produce multiple videos every week and you post them.
Right.
I imagine that gets pretty tiring over time, and you have to find ways to stay motivated. How do you do that?
Honestly, once you start, it's funny because I run my mom's Instagram.
Yeah.
And getting her to do it in the beginning was very tough. She didn't understand why she needed to do it, and she didn't want to do it. Once she started seeing the traffic driven to her page, once she started seeing the referrals she was getting on Instagram, it becomes addicting. And that's kind of something that always keeps me going. I'm always pushing for more. I always want more views. I always am trying to grow my platforms. And that's kind of just a motivator in itself. There's a lot of people around me in my world that are constantly growing, and it's almost like you're just trying to chase, who can get to the top and who can keep growing their following, and in new and different ways.
That's so interesting and makes a lot of sense. Instagram obviously allows you to show your personality, and Jade has an amazing personality and a lot of knowledge to share. And it's just such a great place for anyone who's an expert in their field to connect with an audience and share what they know about the 100%. Industry.
And that's one of the biggest things that I try to portray to people in business and real estate, is that people might see that you're successful in the business, or they might see your name in a newspaper, but they don't know you as a person, and they're not able to connect with you through a newspaper ad or through a magazine. Instagram is the greatest way to actually show your personality, show how you run your business, how you work your business. It's not just, okay, this person sells houses. Okay, she's an amazing human. Okay, she's loyal. Okay, she's actually good at what she does.
Producing content can be as easy as giving behind the scenes looks on what it is like to run your business.
Right.
What do you do every day? What does an open house setup look like? How do you stage a home? All of those things are questions that potential buyers and sellers are wondering about. So if you can show them via video, ideally, it makes for really engaging content.
Right. And you can make forms of content in 1,000 different ways. So you could create, let's say you wanted to do YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You start with the YouTube video, you hire whoever you need to hire. Let's say it's a production company to come for a full day. You select a couple houses, go to a few houses, do a couple house tours, do some interviews. Not only can you post that on YouTube, you can also have them clip that and put all of that on your Instagram and TikTok as well. So you're covering all 3 platforms in one day of content.
I love that. The idea of doing content days
Right.
is so compelling.
Right.
It is the best hack,
to.
I think, for producing content.
You have to do
because everyone's busy. Your mom is out and about doing showings literally 14 hours a day. And then
Right.
she's sitting over there doing emails for another 3 hours.
Right.
You got to squeeze in time to produce content. And so it's much easier to say, well, Jade, give me one day a month or even one day a quarter, and
Right.
we'll shoot a bunch of content in one day. And then we'll repurpose it, edit it, and turn it into maybe 50 or 100 pieces of content and posts that we can use across these different platforms.
And what I always say is it doesn't have to be like crazy high quality. Some stuff, yes, but you also want to seem organic as well. And that's a lot of stuff that we do on my mom's Instagram is we do high quality stuff and we show the amazing houses that she sells, $100 million houses and super high quality. But we also shoot stuff on an iPhone because we want her to show that she's normal and organic and relatable.
At the end of the day, people want to connect with people.
Right.
And this is a great way to show someone's personality
Right.
and show what they're all about. I love it. So once you've produced all this content and you start posting or you hire someone to do that on your behalf, what can you expect? How long is it going to take to see some growth?
Yeah, there's no time frame on this stuff. And everyone thinks that just because they're going to start posting on social that they're going to blow up, become an influencer, or have 1 million followers. It's just not how it works. Unfortunately, it's just not how it works. You could start and grow a team and a page and put a bunch of time into it and not see that much growth. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how big the audience is, as long as you're reaching a certain demographic and as long as you're seeing results, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Like I said, all it takes is one client. One client
That's right.
pays for it all.
Yeah, yeah, and it really helps you establish a brand. It really helps people to connect with you, not just
Right.
cold traffic that's never heard of you, but also people that hear your name, get referred through someone else. First thing they're going to look at is your website, and they're going to look at your social channels.
Right.
And that's how they're going to decide if they are going to reach out to you and contact you.
Well, and having dealt with a handful of agents and managing their pages, trying to explain to them that, yes, you might be able to pay for a newspaper article, and yes, you've been doing this for 30 years, but you also have to realize in a newspaper, in some random section of the newspaper, you might get, let's say, 1,000 eyeballs and someone that's actually going to pay attention to that article. You could post an Instagram video that could either do 1,000 views or 100,000 views, and you're reaching 100 times what you would have reached in that newspaper, and it's more engaging, and technically you might not have to pay for it.
That's why digital is exponentially more powerful than any print or traditional media, because you can actually start a conversation. You can
Right.
have a call to action right there, and people can reach out to you if they're interested, and they can start a conversation.
I've dealt with some of the biggest brands in the world, from Michelob Ultra to AT&T to Nike to Jordan. I mean, literally the biggest brands. They have hundreds of millions of dollars in their budget for social, and obviously there's a reason for that.
That's a great note to finish on. Thanks so much for coming on.
Of course.
Great to have you, Austin.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Awesome.
Hope you guys learned enough.
Thanks, man.